Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Breaking Butterfly podcast. I am so grateful to have you guys here. Today's episode, I am joined by a good friend of mine. Her name is Autumn, and we were actually in a mastermind together. So we got to know each other pretty well and connect and learn from each other. And I just think she is like the most sparkly, awesome human being. And I'm excited to like learn more from her and for you guys to come along with me and just get to ask all the questions and hear all the things and hear Autumn's story. So, a little bit about Autumn. She is a content creator, the founder of a digital marketing agency, Slay on Socials, and the host of the Edge of Everything podcast. She is an expert in all things social media, marketing, and content creation, and loves helping mission driven content creators, business owners, and leaders build iconic personal brands, monetize their magic, and manifest their dream lives. I love that. You killed it with that bio. That is
Thanks.
perfectly you and so epic. So, welcome. Say hello to everyone.
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited you're here. I love talking about social media and marketing and personal branding. And I love that you use the word iconic in your bio as well, as just like creating something really iconic. And
Mhm.
I would love to hear, just to like start us off, a little bit about your journey and how you found your passion within that. It usually doesn't just like, you don't just wake up and you're like, I'm going to create a personal brand business. There's more to
Yeah.
it. So I want to hear like, why are you so passionate about it and how did you become the expert you are today?
Yeah, so it's a long story, but I love telling it cuz I feel like you said I wouldn't be here without that. Like I didn't just decide one day to get into doing social media. I was in college and I always say I stumbled into it on accident. Um it was like my junior year. I was going through a fitness journey and I thought TikTok was a kids app when I first started hearing about it because like they were doing dances, and
It
I was
kind of
like,
was
I'm
at
not gonna get
first when
on
it was
TikTok.
musically.
Yeah, yeah. So that was
Yeah.
like my like perception of it. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick with Instagram. But then the pandemic hit, and I was a little depressy, and got on TikTok one day, and I was like, oh, so it's not just dancing people. There's like everyone on here of all ages. Um, and like I said, I was in college going through a big fitness journey. And so I was like, you know what? Why don't I just start posting for fun just to see like what happens? And then I started getting into like Fit Talk, and I would see them on my For You page. And I was like, oh, wow, these people are like influencers, and they're making money, and they're having brand deals, and they have these awesome communities. And it just looked like fun. And so I was like, if they can do it, I can do it too. And so I decided that I was going to like intentionally try to grow on there, and I set my goal to be like 20,000 followers. I thought if I could get 20K, I'd be cruising. I could get the brand deals. I'd be an influencer. So that was my goal. And so I worked on it. I say I grew within like 3 weeks, but really it was from like 2021 to the end of 2022. I was just like kind of getting my feet wet, posting, and then at the end of 2021, like around like the holidays time, I was like, okay, let's grind. I'm gonna like post 5 to 7 times a day, which I did. I was like studying the algorithm, studying all the strategies, and within like 3 weeks, I remember going from having like 900 followers to 250K in like that span of time.
Wait, that's insane.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
It was
God.
like a big like jump from like that from there to there. And then it didn't happen overnight. It happened over the course of a few weeks. So it was like slowly going up. Like one day I went from 900 to like, a couple thousand, and then 10,000. And then I woke up one morning and it was 50,000, and I literally had a panic attack.
Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't know that. I knew that you had grown like a big TikTok following, but I didn't know that it was like
Uh-huh.
that fast. And
Yeah.
I have so many questions and things I want to dive into just from like this. Um, but panic attack. Let's start there. Like, what thoughts are going through your head when you literally roll over, grab your phone, like you wake up, roll over, grab your phone, and you're like, what the you have to like rub your eyes and be like, am I actually seeing this correctly? Like, yeah, walk us through
Yeah.
what that panic, quote unquote panic attack was like.
Yeah, so I didn't even grab my phone. I was still sleeping. And my brother, he was watching all this happen with me. And he came in my room. He like knocked on my door and woke me up. And he was like, you have 50,000 followers. And I was like, what are you talking about? And
Yeah.
he showed me his phone, and I was like, oh my God. Like, literally so stunned. And then he was like looking at me, and I was looking at him, and I was like, I just like started crying. I'm like, oh no, what's happening? Like, I thought my goal was 20,000. I thought that's all I needed.
Yeah.
And, I was crying because like I was so overwhelmed with like the possibilities and like the good possibilities, but also like the negative possibilities, because when you have more visibility, you have a greater chance of being judged and, rejected by people. I was I didn't even know what limiting beliefs were at the time. That was before I got into all of the mindset work and stuff. But I just realized in that moment that if I continued on the trajectory that I was setting myself up to be seen by like hundreds of thousands and millions of people. And I didn't know if I was actually ready for that. I wasn't
Yeah.
ready for that. So yeah, it just like really overwhelmed me in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, sometimes it is really the fear of failure, but a lot of
Hmm.
times it's the fear of success. And it's
Yeah,
not just like, oh, I'm afraid to like be successful, or it's not like, oh, I don't think I'm worthy of being successful. It's like once you are successful, it's the things that come with it, you know?
exactly.
And even like part of that, yeah, there's like the rejection and like being seen and getting feedback from others, but even just the risk of losing it. A lot of people
Yeah.
would rather not have it and then lose it, or they'd rather have
Hmm.
nothing than have it and then lose it. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's kind of a crazy thing. And then especially that fast, like your nervous system can't like fully catch up to that. It's just there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
What
was like a whole different thing aside from like um the money piece of it and like brand deals and stuff. And when I started doing that kind of stuff, it was just like so much so fast.
yeah. Oh my gosh. What was the video? Like what was the one that you feel really made it quantum leap like that?
So there were like three or four that I posted all around the same time. The first one, it was so dumb. It was a trend, and we'll get to this, but I don't suggest using these strategies and stuff that I used to grow my original platform, because like I learned my lessons the hard way, which we can get into. But I was at the time I was doing a lot of trends and just like relating to, the fitness world and things that, that were relatable. And it was a video about eggs. It was about how like that was like the first one, because I was eating eggs to try and hit my protein goal, and it was this sound of like gagging, and I was like, POV when you have to eat 6 eggs to hit your protein goal or something like that. And
Yeah,
of course, it's the dumbest shit that goes viral, and
always.
that was like the first one that kind of like that was the first domino to fall. And so then when that happened, I was like, okay, let me keep posting. So I posted a workout video that one went viral. And I posted another video about like my weight loss journey that went viral, and then another one that was another trend, and it was like a sound. It was like I forgot what it was, but that one was the one, like the big one. So I like
Mm,
just kept going because I saw the momentum, and I was like, let me just capitalize on it.
yeah,
And then yeah, all those videos at once kind of like jump started everything.
totally like domino effect and just like catapulted you. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah. Such a crazy experience. And I think there's so many things I want to talk about with you. Let's talk about what you said that we were going to talk about of like not wanting to do trends.
Hmm.
Because so I also like had a video go like very viral and it gave me like a lot of followers within a week. I think I gained like
Hmm.
90,000 in a week. And it was off of something that like I don't really usually talk about. And
Yep.
then yeah, and then it was like for the series, and that's why everyone followed me, was because it like they wanted to see the rest of the videos in the series that I was doing. And I just was never really like able to keep it up after that. Like I had some other viral
Hmm.
videos and like kind of, but it just wasn't, I don't know, like I was never able to like really recreate that, and I never felt like I created a genuine community on TikTok. Like there are
Hmm.
people in my community now that are like, "Oh, I found you on TikTok," but I just feel like TikTok is just for the reach and it doesn't really create
Yeah.
this connection. And I did see a reel that you posted recently where you were like, yeah, like like trends are cool for like the reach and like for visibility, but it's like not actually creating like a brand. Was it you that said that, or
Hmm.
read
Yeah.
that somewhere?
I just
Yeah.
posted that one, yeah, because the exact same thing with me. Like, and that's a big difference between like an audience and a community. Like an audience of people is just kind of like there, but like the community is what's the most important for a sustainable brand, a sustainable business. And like that's one of the biggest lessons that I had to learn throughout all this, because I also like, yeah, 250,000 followers. I almost hit 300K when I was like really in it, like my influencer era, what I call it.
Yeah.
Um but I just realized like those people weren't really there for me as a person. They were just kind of there for the version of me that they saw in that one video. And
Yeah.
with TikTok, if you grow your brand that way, it's really hard to sustain it and to be able to pivot later on, because people find you from one video, and if it's not related to what you want to be known for long term, or if they're not getting to know who you are as a person and get to like you and trust you and love you and be invested in you as a person, it's not going to matter what happens later on, because you just kind of like set yourself up from the beginning to be for entertainment
Exactly.
only. And
Yep.
that's like so damaging if you really want to be a content creator, business owner, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point where like I had people reaching out and they're like, wanted to like pay me a bunch of money to make them a TikTok video. And like in my like integrity, I was like, no, like my 10,000 followers on Instagram is way better than like my
Mhm.
100K on TikTok. But like those brands wanted to work with me because they just see the vanity metric. And I'm like, but it's just
Yeah.
people who followed me because of yeah, like a certain series that I did. It was like about like the laws of the universe, and I was talking about the law
Mm.
of oneness, which is like the most basic law. Like I was just like, we are all one, like da da da. That's what went like fucking viral.
Mhm.
Um so I'm like, I'm telling these brands, or even my friends that are like, hey, can you like promote my thing on your, I saw that you have all these followers. I'm like, bro, they're not going to give a fuck about your product because
Yeah.
they don't really know me. They don't, you know what I mean? It's just so
Yeah.
fascinating. And I think like there's so much, people are obsessed with going viral. People want to go
Yeah.
viral so bad to the point that they think anything that doesn't go viral is like a bad piece of content.
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, it flopped. And I'm like,
It did not.
did it? Or are you just expecting to go viral every single time you post?
Yes. Well, and I got stuck in that. And that's why I kind of got like not excited about creating, is because
Uh
I
huh.
did get like a
Same.
couple of those viral videos. Then everything that wasn't, I was like, this sucks. I'm lame. And then the
Yeah.
confidence issues come up and you're like, am I good
Hmm.
enough? Am I weird? Like, do people think I'm stupid? It's like,
Do
just
people
because a
like
video
me?
didn't go viral,
Yeah.
like, really,
It really
girl, you
fucks it
know?
really fucks with your mindset. Like it fucked with my mindset so hard. Like it sent me at, like I literally spiraled into burnout because of
Yeah.
it. And it's so hard because like it's literally dopamine. Like getting that much dopamine at one time, and if you're doing it consistently like over and over again, when you stop getting those likes and followers and comments and shares and all that stuff, you're not getting those hits of dopamine that your brain wants and expects when you it's like it's that like input output, you do a certain action, you expect a certain result. When you don't get the result,
Mm,
it's like it kills your confidence and your excitement for it, and you're not getting that hit that you need.
100%. And you know what's so funny? Like, I've had such an experience over the past little while of like lowering my expectations a little bit. And
Same.
and some people would like say that's a bad thing, but actually it has supported me more than anything. You know, like I
Hmm.
still have big goals and big dreams, and like I know that they're going to happen, but I'm not putting a time date on them. And
Hmm.
actually I'm just, yeah, I've just kind of like lowered my expectations. So anything that happens, it just like blows my mind. Like I'm like blown
Yeah.
away, so excited instead of like being disappointed. And again, that doesn't mean that like I don't have big dreams.
Hmm.
It just means I'm a little more like like it just in acceptance, like just kind of
Hmm.
like this is how things are, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I feel that so much. Like one thing that I try to say is that like you should have standards for your content and for your life and like how you show up, but you shouldn't have expectations for how for like the outcome. Because if you have standards for what you put into something, like you know that if you're pouring, you're all into something and you're giving the effort and you're focusing on quality and you're hitting all those points for the input, and you're happy there and you're satisfied with that, the output doesn't really matter and anything else is just a bonus. So like a video going viral or signing a client or having someone follow you and like DM you and tell you how amazing they thought your video was and how helpful it is. Like that's just a bonus. It's not an expectation that you're putting on yourself in the creation process because that just like that can kill your creativity and your passion and your excitement for it.
Totally. I love the word like standard. I feel like standards are so different than like expectations. And like
Mhm.
also having goals is so different than having expectations. Like I still like I want my videos to do really well. I want my videos to reach more
Mhm.
people. I'm constantly, yeah, like trying to create better content and I'm putting that energy out there. I'm not like,
Mhm.
oh, this video is going to do shit. Like, oh, this video is going
Yeah.
to suck. No, when I post it, I'm like, this post is epic. I fucking love it. But I don't have like an
Mhm.
expectation like, well, it better get this. I'm just like,
Right.
it's like a trust piece. Like I just trust it'll get to the right people. I think that's what I mean when I say
Exactly.
like, yeah, like kind of lower my like expectations a little bit. It's just like it's like a trust piece, a gratitude piece, and acceptance, like a very spiritual, just like it's gonna do what it's meant to do, and all I can do is my
Mhm.
best. I think that's like such an empowering place to be because, like you said, like you'll literally go down in flames as a creator.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll go down.
You will. I've been
Yeah,
there. I've done that.
yeah. So when you were building your account, you're talking about
Mhm.
posting 5 to 7 times a day.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? I don't even know if I have a question. Can we please talk about this?
Yeah. Um, so like I said, I was in college, so I had a lot of free time and it was like right during COVID, like it was after COVID happened and we were like just returning to campus and so most of my classes were still virtual. So all I was doing was like sitting in my room, going to the gym, going to like my virtual classes that I wasn't really paying attention to.
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of time on my hands. And so I was just posting to post, honestly. I was throwing spaghetti at the wall until I found what stuck.
Mhm,
And then once I
mhm,
found what was working and I started studying other creators who were popular, their content style, what the algorithm wanted,
mm.
studying trends, hashtags, all of that stuff. And I like got it. It was so easy to just like, it's like a formula. Like when you figure it out, you just do X, Y, Z, and then you get XYZ outcome. And especially like the early era of TikTok because it was like 2021, 2022. It's a different platform now. So like I said, like these things don't really apply anymore, but like I was I had like a little schedule for myself. So I was posting 2 trends a day, a workout video, a talking video, and then like the other stuff was kind of like up to whatever I was scrolling through that day. Like I would find a sound and I would just record it, edit it, post it. Like it was just do this, do this, do this, and just show up consistently because that was the name of the game back then. It was consistency and it was quantity over quality. And now it's kind of like the reverse. It's more quality over quantity. And yes, still consistency, but not so much that you're like having to show up 5 to 7 times a day. But back then it was just a numbers game. And so I figured out that my lucky number was 5 to 7. And I knew that like at least 3 out of those 5 or 4 out of 7 would perform well.
So interesting. And that's one of the questions I was gonna ask you is like, do you feel like TikTok's different now? But you just answered that. It's like,
Mhm.
yes, it is.
It's so
Like,
different.
things are so different. And I
But I feel
felt
like it's
that.
better.
Really? So are you still on
Mhm.
TikTok?
I just decided to give it another shot. Like for a second I created a new account cuz like I was going to try like I was intentionally going to grow another account from scratch, but I'm really focused on my business right now and like I don't feel like putting in the time and effort that I'd need to grow another platform. And then I
Yeah.
still have a podcast and so it was just too much. So I was like if I'm just going to post on TikTok, I'm going to post on the account that I started since that's where most of the people are and I'm just going to show up, have fun, just like make it a more of like a creation app versus like a let me try and monetize this and do a strategy again.
Yeah. Yeah, gotcha. You
Yeah.
just want to like just try showing up and just like feel into it.
Yeah.
So with the 5 to 7 posts, I think a lot of people struggle to even just do one post per day,
Mhm.
right? You've got to be on some like, I don't give a fuck shit to post
Yep.
5 to 7 days, 5 to 7 times a day, because you can't even be thinking about like, is this stupid? What are people going to think of me? Like, I think a lot of why people struggle to post consistently, it's not like a discipline thing, right? Or it's
Mhm.
not like a time thing. It takes me like 15 minutes to make a post. It's
Right.
all of the bullshit around it. It's all of the overthinking and I don't know what to post and like, should I post this? Is it stupid? What are people
Mhm.
going to think of me? Blah, blah, blah. Like, there's just all of this shit that comes up for people. Do you have, like, for someone in that space, coming from someone who's literally like, bitch, I'm posting 7 times a day, like, what would you say? Like, what is your advice around their confidence and their mindset to be able to just whip out a post like that and just not think about it, just post it?
Mhm. I feel like you really have to have some thick skin, and like you already have to have a sense of self-confidence and self-worth, cuz number 1, TikTok is a ruthless place, like, and you never know what's gonna
It
catch.
is.
So you kind of have to just be prepared for anything. And so that's like my first big tip is like make sure that you are like internally okay, because if a video goes viral and you get some hate comments, because you will get some hate comments, it's just the nature of that platform and the people that are on it, and like the social rules there are none. So if
Yeah.
you don't have like an internal validation system and confidence, like one mean comment can really wreck you. So just like make sure you have that as like your foundation, and honestly just have fun. And like I said, I was throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like I was really just fucking around and finding out. And it
Yeah.
was just, you know, and if you want to take it seriously, like it does take a little bit more strategy, and like, you know, you do want to think about the content that you are putting out there, because you don't necessarily need to post that much to grow today. It's really more about the quality of the content that you're creating. So just really get clear on like what you want to be known for, what you love to talk about, like what lights you up and what you're excited to share, what you're knowledgeable about, like what can you sit down with someone and talk about forever, and start showing up and talking about that stuff, because that's the easiest stuff to create.
Mm.
And I would aim for like twice a day, once a day, 3 times a week, wherever you can start that feels good for you, start there. And then the more that you start to enjoy it, and the easier it becomes for you to like figure out your creation process and what styles of content that you like, and how often you want to show up, and what your community likes, it'll just kind of come together on its own. But like we were talking about with expectations earlier, like don't put expectations on yourself so early. And if you're already kind of like in the game and you've been posting and you're not catching anything, um I would ask yourself if you're creating for you or if you're creating for other people. And there's no right answer, but your content is gonna shift and change depending on where your focus and energy is going. If you're creating for you, then stop worrying about the vanity metrics and all of that stuff. Create what's most important for you and what's on your heart and what you feel like the past version of you needed to hear. If you're creating for
Mm.
other people, show up and provide value without attachment to the outcomes. Like show up and be the teacher, be the leader, be the friend that someone needs, and you'll start attracting your community.
Mm, I love that. I love that you say like there's no wrong answer because like at the end of the day, everyone wants to say like, oh, like I'm not doing it for anyone, I'm doing it for me. But it's like,
Hmm.
no, I'm doing it for people. I'm doing it for my audience. I want to like, you know what
Right.
I mean? And like adding in that like service piece where it's not just supposed to be like you're only doing it for you. Don't think about what anybody thinks. But if
Hmm.
you are doing it for others and you are trying to add value and like create for others, do it in the act of service.
Right.
Yeah. Either way, it's not about vanity metrics. It's just about either serving a
Yeah, it's
past
about
version of yourself or
connection.
serving others.
Yeah. And like that's all that it's like that piece. It's for anything. Like no matter what your goal is, if you want to build a community, if you want to have brand deals, if you want to start a business, it's all about the service, the connection, and just making the person on the other side of the screen feel seen, heard, and valued. Like if you can make someone feel seen, heard, and valued, you'll have them as a follower, a community member, a ride or die, because they see themselves in you, because you see them beyond just a number. And I think that's where a lot of people mess up with social media, because you can't see the other person on the other side of the screen. You only see the numbers that are racking up in your likes, in your comments, in your shares. But those are like real
Mhm.
humans. Like those are real people and they
Oh my
need you
gosh,
for
yeah.
something.
That's why I always try and get on like calls with people because people will be
Same,
like,
yeah.
yeah, people will be like, I mean, a lot of business coaches I follow now, it's like how to book clients without sales calls, like fuck sales calls. I stopped doing those a
Hmm.
long time ago. I'm like, is that a flex? Because like I don't think that's a flex. I love getting on calls. like with my audience. Like if someone's like
Mhm.
interacting with me a lot and stuff, or like they have interest in one of my offers or whatever, I'm like, let's just get on a call. Like literally no pressure, like nothing salesy. Like I actually just want to
Mhm.
meet you face to face because I genuinely want to know who I'm speaking to because it helps me too when I'm
Right.
writing my next piece of content. Yeah, I'm not writing to numbers. I like know who's in my audience. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know. I've been like thinking that's so funny recently how it's like the biggest flex in the world to like not do calls with potential clients. I'm like, we're literally in the business of serving people
Mhm.
and like you don't like you refuse to get on a call with someone. I don't know. I think it's silly.
Right. I'm the same way. Like I don't like calling them sales calls because it's like I call them connection calls because like if I don't think it's a good fit for someone, I'm not going to sell them something.
Yeah.
And like the last time I did, like I signed someone without at least having like a face-to-face conversation first for one-on-one. They were the most misaligned client ever. And it was
Yeah.
the worst. It was not a good container for either of us, I feel like. Like I hope that I was able to show up for her in the way that she needed me to, but like for me, it just I will never sign someone without speaking to them and getting to know them and like feel their vibe and like see if we have like good energy together first because oh my gosh, it was exhausting.
100%. 100%. We even will have like I've seen people sell retreats where it's just like a sign up link. And I'm like, that
Yeah.
is absolutely absurd because that's not even just like an online coaching client. Like you're in person living with someone for, 3 to 9 days, depending on the retreat.
Mhm.
Me and Bianca do a Zoom call with every single person that wants to come on our
Oh, that's
retreat.
so nice.
Oh, I've done calls with at least like over 1,000, maybe
Oh my
thousands, like
god.
so many people. And the girls that are like, no, I already know I want to sign up. Like, I don't need a call. We're like, we don't care. You're hopping on Zoom with us because like we want to feel out the vibes. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's so important, like in a world, in a digital world to, bring things in person and have calls. And like, I love that we have like voice memos and stuff, which is like helpful. But yeah, that's
Mhm.
also one thing that I don't like about podcasts because Instagram, you can see who's like looking at your stuff. Podcasts,
Right.
I have no idea who's out there. Like, hi,
Mhm.
hello, everybody listening. I literally don't know who you are.
Yeah.
So say
Unless they like
hi.
share it on their story or like DM me, that's why I'm like always asking every episode. I'm like, hey guys, if you like this, can you message me? I want to
Yeah.
see who's listening.
No, literally, same. I'm like, DM me, please, please.
Yeah.
I just want to talk. Like, I just want to chat.
Right.
That's so funny. I've like received messages in the past where girls literally are like, "You said to DM you, so just wanted to like say hey." I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah. Literally the best feeling.
That is so funny. So, okay, let's get back into your story. I'm having like such a hard time because like you share like a couple sentences of your story, and I'm like, I have 8 questions just from that. So
Yeah, no,
I
it's
want
okay. Love that.
to, I want to back it up, reverse a little bit. So you blow up. You've
Mhm.
got these followers. You're in your influencer era. I'm sure you were like kind of vibing a little bit.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Let's talk about how you got to the burnout stage. What did you do
Mhm.
wrong to get you to the burnout? Um, let's talk about that first.
Yeah. I feel like looking back, sometimes I'm very hard on my past self and like my experience as an influencer because I see it from a different perspective now. But when I was in it, I was like obsessed. I was in love. I loved it.
Yeah.
And my favorite part was just like being able to connect with other people and like seeing all the questions in my comments and being able to answer them and feeling like I'm changing someone's life and like that felt really good. But then I really started in like I in an ideal world, you'd be able to respond to every single comment all the time. But my people pleaser, I'm such a people pleaser. And so because I'm a people pleaser or I was and I wanted to genuinely connect with every single person who commented on my content, I would connect with every single person who commented on my content. And when I was like out of like the like viral beehive thing that like exploded my account, I was having my content perform really well for like a long time. And so I kind of got into the habit of like sitting there for hours, like responding to every single person. Like even if I had like 1,000 comments on my video, I was responding to every single person, whether it
Girl,
was a
that's
heart, whether it
insane.
was a yeah. So like I burnt myself out in that aspect because I genuinely wanted to help everyone. And like now I know better. Like I can't help everyone. I can never answer every single person's questions.
Yeah.
Um
Did you
so that's
have like
one
a
thing.
coaching offer at the time, or were you influencer just like brand deals and like sponsorships and stuff like that? Like, were you
Love this
selling
question.
anything?
I was. So the night before the big bang, we'll call it, it was maybe like 2 nights before, I saw my account growing and I was like, Mom, what should I do? And she was like, I had all these people asking like the same questions. So I made an ebook. It was like 50 pages and I sold it for $10. I put it in the link in my bio. And so as my account was growing, people would I made one like little, it was I guess it was like an ad, but it was just me like sharing about it. I flipped through it. That went viral. And so I had like 500 or 600 people within like 2 weeks buy that ebook. And that was like the first little way I monetized my account. Then I had some brands reach out to me to do some partnerships and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Imagine if
Thanks.
you were selling something bigger than a $10 ebook, but
I know. Oh my
yes.
God. When I think back, I'm like, stupid.
Well,
No, I'm just kidding.
no. Yeah, like, I mean, now you look back, yes, you're like, I would do things differently,
Yeah.
but in that time, like, you
Hmm.
just weren't there. But
Yeah.
I remember even like, yeah, just like hanging out with like really big content creators for the first time
Hmm.
and just realizing like followers do not equal money. You guys,
No.
like, followers do not equal money. Like, it's not like someone's not automatically rich just because they have a big
Mm-mm.
following. And that's something I really learned. I had like a way smaller following than all of my friends and was like doing like really well in my business and like selling high ticket
Hmm.
programs. And I was just like, oh my God. And so, yeah, that's why I was like, I was curious because I feel like a lot of creators, yeah, they blow up and they're like, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So I like kind
but
of like I took advantage of it because I was
no,
in
that's
I was in
epic.
college.
Yeah.
I was working my personal branding professor. I was like talking to her a little bit. Or that was like before I started her class, but I was like looking through her website and stuff and I saw she had digital products. So I was like, I'll just make something. Make it
Yeah.
small, $10,
No, that's
see what
smart.
happens.
That's
Yeah.
when you knew you were a full like true entrepreneur. Is
Yeah.
your following started growing and you're like, what? I need to create something now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. So all the comments that burn you
Mhm.
out.
Yeah,
What
so that
else?
was like the biggest thing I feel like, but then also just like the mindset that I was in.
Yeah.
I kind of touched on this at the beginning, but like I didn't know what limiting beliefs were. I didn't know what self-sabotage was. But I was just moving so fast all the time. Like between you're trying to respond to everyone, the actual content creation itself, how much time it takes to do vlogs and workout videos and do like face to camera videos and responding to people and having my own content that I wanted to create and being in college full time. It was a lot. And so I was just constantly pushing myself. And then on the other side of it, like this subconscious piece and the nervous system piece, I was not ready to handle so much
Yeah.
success, so much money, so much responsibility so quickly. And I didn't really have a support system in that because that was before I got into working with coaches and all of that stuff. I didn't have anyone to kind of lean on. None of my friends understood what I was going through because I was the only influencer in the group. Um,
Yeah.
and just like the mindset that like I was constantly afraid that like it was all going to be taken away. I was going to lose all my followers. People didn't like me. When I'd see my engagement drop, like it would fuck with my head so bad. Um, I'd like stop posting for days and then I'd come back and I'd like it was just a lot. And so I just like completely burned myself out. And that happened more towards the end of it when I was like kind of exiting the influencer stage and entering the coach stage because in between I started my fitness coaching business and I was in a coaching program and their methodology was like scale as quickly as possible. So the head coach, like she and I got really close and she was helping me and I had gotten like my roster to like 12, 15 clients in a really short amount of time and just having all of those clients being in school, mindset stuff. It just kind of like one thing after the other compounded and I was just like I burnt myself out.
Mm. How did you do that? How did you get 12 to 15 clients like really, really fast? What was your strategy? Was it for like
Um,
fitness specifically?
mhm. Yeah, so I got my certified personal training thing, my personal trainer certification. And so it was fitness and nutrition coaching that I was doing. And I had a lot of leads because I have a lot of followers, have a lot of leads, but that doesn't mean that they were all qualified leads. So I launched a free challenge and ended up having like 400 people sign up for it. So yeah, I had to hire a VA and we went through all of the applications together for my coaching program because from the challenge, I had like probably 200 people apply to work with me.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah,
That's
that's kind of how
crazy.
that funneled into that. Yeah.
But you still don't recommend trying to go viral, even though it got you that many followers to get you that many people in your challenge, to get that many people to apply.
Well, now I don't not want people to go viral. I want people to go viral and have the systems and strategy to actually support that much visibility. Because, like, if you are just going viral and you don't have a plan, you don't have a system, you don't have help, it will fuck you up. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't know what to do with all of that abundance, because it's so good. Like, going viral is not a bad thing. It's such a good thing. You can change people's lives. You can change your life. Like, I'm not going to rag on it because it completely changed my life. But I also think that, like, knowing what I know now, if I could do it all over again, I would do it so much smarter and I would lay the
Yeah.
foundation for actually being able to sustain that success and be able to, like, have a strategy that allows me to capitalize on it, one, and then also create a community for people who, like, maybe can't afford to invest right now. But then, like, I know how to, like, transfer people from social media to, my email list or, an app
Yeah.
or something like that. Get people into a different platform because we don't own social media. But yeah, love going viral, don't love going viral without a plan.
Yeah. So that's why you more say that, like, it's not the goal. It's not that it's not
Yeah,
a goal, but it's not the goal. The
right.
goal is creating a sustainable business, and then that
Yeah,
can be kind of like a tool that you maybe use. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I love that. Um, okay, so you do the whole fitness thing, and then obviously you're not in fitness anymore. What turned you
Nope.
off? Like, yeah, what turned you off from fitness? What kind of yeah, I guess was the catalyst for your pivot? Because I think a lot of people, whether they are currently pivoting or they feel like there might be a pivot in the future, I think everyone will have that experience in one way or another because we're always evolving, we're always doing something new. And
Mhm.
I think people are afraid of that. And so they put all this pressure on like, what is my niche? And like having to like have that niche forever and ever and ever. Like they think they need to talk about one
Yeah.
thing for the rest of their lives. And I'm like, no, you can definitely pivot. But I think
Mhm.
it's an interesting experience to completely like shift your audience like that. So what was that like for you?
Yeah. I pivoted a few times. I feel like I'm the pivot queen at this point. But I
Pivot
just
queen. I love that.
yeah. I kind of like just fell out of love with being a fitness creator, one, because of how much time it took, and then just like I don't prefer brand deals because that's a whole different logistics side of things. And yeah, I found that coaching was a little bit more profitable. I liked having control over my income. So I kind of like took a step back from like the influencer side and I fully went into fitness coaching. And in doing that, I realized that, like, yeah, I love helping people achieve their dream body, but like I don't like talking about weight loss. I don't like talking about, the quickest way to do it and like macros, and like that just wasn't my passion. Helping people step into the best possible version of themselves was my passion. And I realized that, I graduated with a degree in psychology. My original plan was to become a therapist, or I wanted to be a psychologist and, go to grad school, get my PhD, all that stuff. So I love the mind. I love the subconscious mind. And every single client that I had, they didn't have a physical issue. They had an internal mindset issue that was holding them back. So I pivoted from fitness and nutrition to fitness and mindset. And then it was from fitness and mindset to mindset and success coaching, mindset manifestation, and then snowballed into where I'm at now because I just realized that, like, I just love helping people become their best selves. And I don't talk about, like, I could talk about the strategy of how I achieved, my following and all that stuff, but I really manifested it. Like, I love manifestation and I incorporated it into everything that I do. and that's kind of how like everything just like comes together um into what I do now, which is like a little bit of everything just minus the fitness stuff, cuz like at the end of the day, like I just love helping people change from the inside out, not the outside in. And then manifesting their dream lives and kind of like tying in the social media aspect, which is what I do now. I used to think that like I wanted to change the world and like I had to, reach the most people with my own account and like be the most seen. But I realized that like if I can help other people help more people, then I'm just kind of like a little ripple effect. And like I'm still helping change the world, but just it doesn't have to be me. I can just be a part of other people's missions. So yeah. It kind of like all comes together.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. I feel like I always talk about that when I talk about purpose. People feel like their purpose
Hmm.
needs to be this like big old thing where they're making millions of dollars and have millions of followers and have like whatever. I'm like, no, that's not necessarily how you're going to make like the biggest emphasis in the world. It could just
Right.
be doing what you do best and it does like have that ripple effect.
Hmm.
Um which I love and I think it's like just as like when we talk about purpose, like people's ego comes in. And I think that's
Yeah.
why people are obsessed with virality too. It's like this ego
Yeah.
thing of like, I'm good enough, like I'm cool. So many people like
Hmm.
me, instead of it
It
being like,
literally is that.
it literally is that. And so yeah, I love that you say that of just like, your lane, you know what you're good at, you know where you're supposed to be, and you know that it's gonna like make the changes you're meant to make in the
Hmm.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know if I wanted to, I could focus on going viral and stuff because it's literally just a formula and all of that. But I'm like, kind of like you said earlier, if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. Like, I know that my content is going to reach the right people regardless. And
Yeah.
then if it does go viral, if it does, reach millions of people, even better because it's achieving my goal just at a bigger scale.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting with coaching too. A lot of people talk about the struggle from influencer to coach because
Hmm.
it is like just a different intention. You're not just trying
Yeah.
to like get views, you're actually trying to like convert your audience into clients and bring people into your offers. And
Right.
so sometimes like the lowest engaging posts are what do that. Like my
Hmm.
posts that do like way lower in engagement. Like, yeah, I know what to post to get people to like whatever, engage. Like I
Hmm.
know what's going to do well. And but that's not necessarily what like brings people into my programs. Then something could get like the lowest
Right.
engagement ever and I get like 5 clients from it and I'm like
Hmm.
no one even knows. They're looking at me like, "Oh, she only got 30 likes." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm literally changing lives over here and
Hmm.
don't have a job, so hello." And I just
Yeah.
think engagement is just such a silly it's just such a silly thing. I mean, for God's sake, it's
Hmm.
literally called likes. Like,
Yeah.
how fucked is that? Like, to literally have a number on a screen. It's like that fucking Black Mirror episode where they have like the ratings. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I watched it in a philosophy class.
Okay, yeah. I haven't really watched that show. I feel like it's like
Me
very
either, but I've seen like
cheesy.
clips here and there.
Yeah, and there's that one where like everyone like rates each other and like you have a bad interaction with someone and you like send them like a bad
Yeah,
rating. Can you imagine if life was like that? But then also like it kind of is.
it is like that, very much
It
so.
it very much is like that. It's like, "Oh, like how many people like what I am?" But that's when you have to like really separate it where like your content is not you at all. Like you
Mhm,
cannot look at your likes and be like, "Oh, this is how many people like me." It's just,
mhm.
"Oh, this is like how a piece of content performed." I don't
Yeah,
know. It's a
and
fucking
also it's like
crazy world.
I feel like there's so many silent supporters. Like there's so many people who don't even like I've had clients reach out to me and I never see them on my likes, I never see them in my comments, but they are the ones that are like, "Yep, let's go. I'll pay in full." And
Autumn,
I'm like, "Where did you come from?"
I talk about this all the fucking time. I call them secret admirers. Like,
Yeah.
show up for the secret admirers. I would say 90% of my clients, especially like my high paying one on one clients, yeah, never
Mhm.
seen their name before, ever.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the first coaches I ever worked with, I didn't even follow her on Instagram. I didn't even follow her. Someone had like sent me her name and then I looked her up and I was like, "Oh, I like her." Didn't even follow her, DM'd her and was like, "I want to work with you. I'll pay right now." That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And there's so many people doing that to you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that. I think so much of it is the mindset, and like for the people
Mhm.
who do struggle with like the creativity, it's these kinds of conversations or these kinds of like perspective shifts that
Mhm.
get you excited about creating again, because instead of being like, "Oh yeah, I'm not getting that output," it's like
Yeah.
realizing that sometimes you can't actually see the ripple that it's making. Oh, another thing I
Yeah.
wanted to talk to you about. You're talking about treating your social media like a garden, and I feel like this whole
Oh, yeah.
conversation plays into that so much. Because Autumn was sharing like, again, don't just like focus on one piece of content and be like mad when it doesn't go well.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, you're creating something so much bigger. I don't know, how would you explain that whole concept?
Yeah, so, like, every single post, rather than looking at it as the garden itself, like, the one thing that people are gonna come to you for, think of like every post is like a single flower in the garden, and it's just building up the beauty of your overall brand, your business. And like when people come to your profile, they get to pick through your flowers and see what they like and what resonates with them. And like we were just talking about, those might not be the pieces of content that go viral, but like people will be able to come through and see what you're doing. And then when you do have a flower that blooms really big, or like a tree or something, um great, even better. But like it's kind of like an artist having a portfolio. Like if we judged artists
Yes.
based on their one painting, and they just stopped there when a critic told them that it was shit and they shouldn't be an artist, like we would not have the artists that we do in the world. So they create a portfolio, and that reflects their overall, expertise and artistry and whatnot. But it's not, the one painting that makes or breaks their entire career.
Yeah.
So I try to think of it like that. Like it's just like it's like an ecosystem that you're creating. And also, you know, every single post, like the lifespan of a single post is like 24 hours on Instagram, because Instagram isn't really caught up with like SEO and like long term searchability and all of that stuff, which is a whole different topic. But you're like, if you put all of your like your entire identity and self-esteem and validation into one post at a time, and they flop, quote unquote flop, or they don't perform well, like you're not gonna make it. Like look at the big picture. Like look at the bigger picture.
100%. Yeah, it's such a bigger picture. People put so much pressure on like one post, and yeah, it's just
Mm-hmm.
like especially what you're saying about like the longevity of an Instagram post, like
Mm-hmm.
also just how fast people are moving. When's the
Yeah.
last time you really like someone posted something and you like look at it and you read every single word slowly and you like take it all in and you read every word of the caption? No, people are swiping, tap, tap, tappity
Mm-hmm.
tap through their stories. Like people are not paying that much attention. Another thing I notice is people are so afraid to like post a similar message more
Yeah,
than
or the
once. I'm
same
like,
thing. Yeah.
babes, say the same thing over and over again. You're
Over and
building a
over.
art. Say it in different ways, do it in fun
Mm-hmm.
ways. Like, yeah, you just like build. It's just so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved that when I saw that in one of your posts. You're like, think of it like a garden. I'm like, yes. And
Thanks.
that's what makes it
Yeah.
fun. And that's what makes it fun.
It is. Yeah.
Um, how do you feel about hashtags? Do they actually even do anything?
This is like such a big question. Like everyone asks me this all the time. And like yes and no. Like hashtags don't really matter anymore for visibility or even engagement. Hashtags are just a way of categorizing your content. The big thing now is SEO and keywords. So search engine
Yeah,
optimization, and having those keywords in there for people, to make it searchable. Like on TikTok, YouTube, those platforms, they have a better search engine that like allows people to search for things, and then your content comes up, kind of like you search like how to
yeah,
make eggs on Google. Like you search that on TikTok and it'll come up with like hundreds of videos. Whereas Instagram, they're still in progress, but like keywords still help with your visibility, your engagement, because when we're scrolling with our subconscious minds, like we're looking for things that stand out to us. So if you have a keyword in there that someone is searching for, they're going to be more likely to stop and watch your video or engage with your content, whereas they're not going to the hashtags to see if you said hashtag eggs.
no,
Like,
literally, 100%. Yeah, I just like, I don't know. I feel like I have beef with hashtags. Like, I just think they're,
Same.
like, so stupid. Except for on TikTok, like, TikTok, I feel
Mhm.
like they kinda, like, make more sense.
Yeah.
Instagram, yeah, I've always, like, focused on keywords, so
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm
but, like,
glad
they do categorize your content, so, like, if you search up the hashtag, it'll still fall under everyone who's used that same hashtag, but it
yes,
definitely doesn't help as much as people think.
but who has ever looked up a hashtag like, I've never looked at any post under any hashtag ever.
Yeah.
Never. Not at all. So oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so funny how, like, competitive the social media world is now. You were talking about, like,
Mhm.
having things that stand out, right? That's, like, the key right now. You've gotta stand out, and I think
Yeah.
now more than ever, we have to do some crazy shit to stand out. Do you follow
Mhm.
Diplo?
I don't.
Do you even know who Diplo is?
I do.
Okay, good. Oh my gosh. Um, all the little, like, um, what do you call them? Like, those little clips that people are putting at the beginning of their reels that are, like,
Oh my
silly.
god.
You know
Yes,
what I
it's
mean?
like the person, like, rolling off of the gurney or something, and they roll into the video.
Exactly, exactly. I don't even know what you would call those. Yeah, they're like these little funny real like starters.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he had this one, speaking of eggs, where it was like an egg falling out of like a chicken's bottom, like
Oh my
literally like
god.
and then it goes like into the transition and an egg just like falls on his head and breaks and there's just
Uh-huh.
egg running down his face. He's like, "Come to my show," on like whatever. I'm totally gonna remake that, by the way. The next time I have to wash my hair, I'm having Henry drop an egg on my head. But I just think it's so funny, like, now more than ever, people have to do some crazy shit or, um
Yeah.
oh my god, think about, like, Bobby, Altoff.
Oh my
Like,
god, she's
you know
so
what I mean?
funny.
She's so funny, like, people just have to do some, like, crazy shit to, like, get people
Mhm.
talking or, like, catch people's attention, and I'm
Yeah.
just curious to see how, like, social media will continue to evolve and, like, what we're gonna have to do to, like, keep building our businesses. Like,
Mhm.
I'm strapped up. I'm ready to do what it takes, but, like, it's gonna get so competitive.
Yeah, it's already so
It's
competitive,
already
but,
so
like, I feel like there's space for everyone, like, yeah, those things are funny, but they're just hooks, like, that's all everything is, like, you need to catch someone's attention within the first, like it's less than 3 seconds, but people say the first 3 seconds, and those are really funny, like, they're good hooks, but also, I feel like they're not sustainable. I feel like what's the most sustainable is your personal brand, and I always say energy over algorithms. Like, people are gonna
Mhm.
remember your energy, they're gonna remember the way that you made them feel, they're not going to necessarily remember what you said or remember, the egg dropping or, that kind of stuff, but they're going to remember you, your energy, your face,
Yeah.
how you made them feel, if you saw them, if you helped them. So I think that's the direction everything's going in. It's like the power of your personal
Being
brand and
genuine.
how genuine are you? How authentic are you? How memorable are you as a person? Not how flashy or eye catching you can be in one video, but like the bigger picture like we talked about, like of you as a person and as a brand.
Yeah. What would be your, like, top 3 tips? Like, if I was about to go on social media and, like, create some content that's, like, really,
Mhm.
like, all of that really embodies those, um, I guess, like, philosophies and those values, like, what would you say to me?
I guess my number one thing would be like practice being yourself. And if you don't know who that is, like go find out who you really
Mm,
are, like without like trying to achieve a specific outcome, but just like who are you when you're with like your best friend or if
yeah.
you're like really close to your mom, like who are you the person you are with the person that you're closest with, that's the person you want to be on camera. So how can you like channel that version of you when you're showing up in your content if you're doing like face to camera, which like I recommend everyone do because that's where we're moving. um so that's number one, like how authentic can you be, like how can you show up authentically on camera. Number two is like really getting clear on your message and like what you want someone to take away from each video. I see a lot
Mhm.
of people, they'll like try to cram multiple ideas into one video and they don't really get their point across and they lose people in that, or they just don't have a hook that's actually like speaking directly to someone's problem, obstacle, desire, whatever, and they're just like being a little too general. So like get really clear on your messaging and what you want someone to take away. And optimize your content, because yes, the algorithm is a thing and there are things that you can do to optimize your content for each platform. It's a little bit different depending on if you're on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, but like learn what's working on that platform and work with the algorithm, not against it. So like Instagram, throw in a trending sound. Use some of their features. Like definitely make sure that you're using, each platform has their own, text. If you're using the text on screen from Instagram, it's gonna, help a little bit more than if you're using it from TikTok or YouTube Shorts.
Mm.
Um, Trending sound, keywords, text on screen, just stuff like that to actually like optimize your content so you're giving it like the best chance possible. But the top two things are your authenticity and your energy, and then your message.
Mm. I love that. I love that so much, and it's so helpful. So
Yay,
helpful.
I'm glad.
Yeah. You know what? I'm also like big on the authenticity. So anytime anyone uses that word, I'm like, yes. Is everyone listening? I'm telling you guys, if you don't listen to me, listen to someone else. Authenticity is literally like gold. Like it is like a
Yeah,
currency, you know?
it's
So
what makes you like the most magnetic.
yeah. Yep. 100%. Oh my God, I love this. Yeah. Autumn, you're so awesome. I'm like so happy that I got to hear more of your story because
Thanks.
I knew bits and pieces, but I didn't really
Mhm.
know the depths of like your journey and like all the like golden nuggets within it. Um, so yeah, I'm very grateful to have you here. Can you tell everyone what you have going on, where they can find you, all of the things? I'll also tag it in the show notes, so don't worry too much about spelling, but
Okay,
let
cool.
people
So you can
know.
find me on Instagram at autumn period Denae, Denae. Um, and my podcast is called the Edge of Everything podcast. And as far as what I've got going on, I just launched a group program. I'm about to close enrollment for that. But if you're listening to this June 20 or July 2024 and you're interested, you can chat with me on Instagram. And if you're in Southern California and want to hang out or do like an in-person VIP day, I do those where we can go shoot content, strategy session, go out to lunch, or even just like meet up at a coffee shop, like not a strategy session, but just like you want to hang out as friends, like we can do that too. I'm in my digital nomad era, so I'm trying to like meet new people in every place that I visit. So that's what I've got going on right now.
Oh my gosh, that's a vibe. I love that. Making friends all over the world is such a vibe because then anytime you have to like go somewhere, you just like have friends, you have
Yeah,
community, you have people you can stay with. Like I love
yeah,
internet friends and like
same.
hardly any of my friends like live near me geographically, but it's a vibe. So
Yeah, that's actually why I came to California, because like most of my friends are out here.
yeah, yeah, totally. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, hit Autumn up, go hang out, get a VIP day. She's obviously so awesome, so epic. And I'll leave all of her links in the show notes so that you guys can connect with her more, follow her on social media. Um, yeah, I'm so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any last words for the audience?
um, I would just say, like, trust yourself. You got this. I can't wait to see some of you guys on my For You page. And thanks for having me.
That's the perfect sign off. I can't see you on my For You page. Love it, love it. All right. I love you all. Have an incredible week, incredible weekend. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.